with all the reaction here on Independence Live.
A very good evening to you, and welcome back to Independence Live for another night of European football following our clubs in Europe. Tonight it's a turn of Hearts and Rangers. We'll speak about the Rangers game later on in the show. The show, guys, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on X. And just till about 5:40 before the Hearts game kickoff tonight. Joined by Regan. Regan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Michael, doing well. Big night for Hearts, and yes, well, Michael, I've got the Hearts team news here. It's Craig Gordon. It's Craig Gordon in goal. It's Shankland, Rose, Boateng, Penrice, Forrester, Vargas, Dander, Rose, Devlin, Shankland. Yep, so that's your team. I don't know why Hearts do that, where they mix it up in all different ways. But yep, I'll run you through that again. It's Craig Gordon, Frankie Kent, Shankland, Devlin, Rose, Forrest, Boateng, Danda, Penrice, Forrester. That's something that me and you spoke about for a long time ago, about playing younger players in European football, and it's great to see Hearts are doing that.
Yeah.
And I'll just run you through the subs. Is Zander Clark, Stephen Kingsley, Craig Halkett, Omionga, Beningame, George Grant, Barry Mackay, Spittle, James Wilson, Boyle, and Sizzler. So, what are you thinking going into this match, Michael?
I'm looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to seeing how Hearts perform, especially away from home again. But I'm also looking forward to see. I know we spoke about him on the show a few times, Reagan, about Forrester. I think he's got a bit about that. I think he's got a bit about him, and I think it's credit to Neil Critchley that he's starting the game tonight, because usually you find that like young players like that are on the bench and come on after 60 minutes or something. But fair play to him, and I hope Hearts get do well tonight
I
as
think
well.
that's a good point, and I think I would love to know if anybody from Belgium is watching, because it's the battle of the Bruges. Because Celtic last night, I was ready to write in the newspaper this morning about Celtic took a battering and a bruising from Bruges. But yeah, I just hope Hearts can help that Scottish flag tonight and do us proud, and that's something that we can build on.
Yeah, no, definitely, and we'll get to Neil Critchley's comments. He was speaking to the media last night in Blues, and we'll get Chris' comments later on in the show. But yeah, I mean, it'll be good to take a look at Hearts as well. Of course, the last time Hearts were away from home, they were playing in front of no one. But
Yep.
tonight it's slightly different. That they're playing against a full house.
Yep, and that was after Naismith got side. I remember the game, so you're spot on there, Michael. And I think in terms of Hearts, I think they'll be looking to just build on what they've done so far. They've got two mouth-watering games the next 3 days. They've got Bruges and then they've got Aberdeen. So if you can't get up for those type of games, Michael, then it's going to be very difficult. But no, I'm pretty confident tonight that we're going to get 2 wins from Scottish teams.
I think if you ask any Hearts fans as well, Regan, like they would like to, they would like to play tonight, maybe at home, and then on Sunday. I know they're at home against Aberdeen, but you always want to be involved in big games, and as you say, that they've got 2 big games coming up, starting tonight at 5:45.
Oh, they have been. I mean, I know they're not doing well in the league, but this can be a real surface board for them to bounce off of, like, because see European football. I know people say, well, it can increase injuries, it can do this, da 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 da, but it's also very good to build that strength in the team and to build that self belief, and that's surely a way the manager because I know they played Nika, is it Nicosia from Cyprus?
Yeah, Nicosia. Yeah.
Yeah, when me and you were on the program when it got record numbers, so I'm hoping tonight that we'll get record numbers so that Graham can just. No, I hope Graham's watching. I'm missing him tonight, but um, I think in terms of Hearts, I think these European matches, if you can't get yourself up for these matches, Michael, then I think you're playing the wrong sport because these are matches that any Hearts fan and any player as well surely got to thrive on. And I think as well, you think about well, people often associate like Celtic and Rangers going abroad, but it's also good to see Hearts fans going abroad and seeing Brussels and all of these things. You know what I mean? Seeing Bruges and because or as they call it in Bruges, they call it Brugge. So they'll be going to see Brugge. Hopefully they'll be bouncing in Brugge tonight. But I mean, in terms of Hearts, they'll be going into this positively. I know they didn't do too well at the weekend, but in terms of Hearts, they can only go for a game by game basis. And Aberdeen at the weekend in this game is the perfect mixture.
Yeah, no, and of course as well, Regan, I think for now you were saying about like the league form goes out the window at the moment because Hearts aren't performing as well in the league this season as they would like to. But
Yep.
it's very funny because Rangers aren't doing too well in the league as well, and I know we'll touch upon their game later on against Nice tonight. But for some reason, Philip Clement's team's actually doing better in Europe as well. Do you think it's between Rangers and Hearts? Do you think it's a kind of psychological thing when it goes to European football? Then they don't have to kind of like the shackles are not on as much.
I get your point completely. I think it's a good point you make. It's not often you make a good point, Michael. So fair play.
Thank you very much.
But I mean, I do get your point in terms of the Scottish teams are not going to are not got any fear, Michael. I think that's a good point you make. And like, the biggest thing for me is as well, you look at any Hearts or Rangers match, Michael, right? In Scotland, now say Hearts are playing Hamilton Accies or Falkirk, right? If you look at Hearts, they're dominating the match for the full 90 minutes. Whereas, see when they go to Europe, there's loads of space. There's loads of space for them to drive into. Whereas when they're playing Falkirk or they're playing Motherwell in the Premier League, there's not much space because what Motherwell do is they put five players at the back, or as you like to say, they like to park 20 buses, and there's more space there. There's more space to open up, and that for me is a big reason why Hearts and Rangers do very well in Europe.
Let's hear from Neil Clifford now. He was speaking to the media ahead of the game in Blues. He was saying, I've watched them myself and the staff as well. As we always do, we prepare for the game and we know that the type of team we're going to be facing. We know that their style of play. We know their strengths and weaknesses, if you like. That's what we do. We try to nullify the strength and to try and expose things that they're going to give us. I'm excited about the game, but obviously it's the way match in Europe, and it's going to be very difficult. So I think that's fair comments that Neil Critchley has said there. But I think that between this season and last season, when we've did the shows for Hearts in Europe, it's just nice to get another team outside of what you would say the goldfish, the goldfish bowl, playing European football, whether it's Aberdeen or Hearts. And okay, Aberdeen didn't do so well in Europe last season, but they managed to pick up, what was it, 6 points out the games, and the Hearts are performing kind of so far.
I think it is, and in terms of Hearts, I mean, it's all about trying to exceed expectations, and I'm sure that I'm not entirely sure. I don't proclaim to know everything about Cercle Bruges. You know, I'm not a Belgium expert, but I think that this is a competition that Hearts and the manager will be trying to do very well in, Michael. I don't think they'll be going in going, it's the Champions League here. They'll be going in knowing that this is a level we can compete in. And I think that's the exact reason why the third competition was brought in. It was 4 teams like Hearts, 4 teams like Motherwell, 4 teams like Aberdeen to compete well and try and get some coefficient points. Because as we know, Celtic got really a lot of coefficient points last night, and Graham did a great job of talking about it last night. And obviously, you can go and catch that back up on last night's show, because I think a lot of stuff Graham was saying last night was spot on. And I think in terms of Scotland as a country, we need to do it more often, because the more teams we've got bet in Europe, the better chance we've got of climbing up that coefficient table.
I think as well, Reagan, that I was listening to I was actually speaking to somebody last night at the Celtic game, and what they were saying was that Champions Leagues are designed for teams like Celtic to get into the knockout round, because obviously when you watch the Champions League, it's always the same quarter-finalists, always the same semi-finalists, always the same teams that's in the final of the year. But in terms of like the Conference League, this is all right. Hearts fans would be a bit disappointed not to get into the Europa League, but at the same time, competitions like this is designed for Hearts, because I mean, you just have to look at West Ham. Was it last season or the
Yeah,
season before they won the Conference League? And okay, you can argue about money, and because West Ham, you would say West Ham's got a bigger budget than Hearts, and bigger budgets than Aberdeen and the likes, and so forth. But I think these kind of competitions are designed for I wouldn't like to see lesser teams, because that's a bit unfair, but I think you know where I'm
yeah,
going with that one, Reagan.
and I think that's where they need to take full advantage, because um, no disrespect, but I'm sure that the Hearts fans would love these away trips, but they also love the fact that they can go and do well, that they can go and show people that, right, well, it's not about getting to Europa League, because when we get to Europa League, we're going to be playing Roma, we're going to be playing Spurs, Manchester United. Of course, Hearts fans want to play them, but they're also realistic. You don't want to go in to play Man United and get beat 6-0 and go, oh, this is a bit embarrassing for Scottish football. Because how many times have you heard radio stations all over the country, all worldwide, talking about Scottish football this, Scottish football that? So I'm glad that now Hearts have got a competition that they can really do well in. And I think that is a game where they can try and achieve big things.
And it's also, as I always say on the show, whether it's maybe about the Scotland national team or teams like Hearts as well, it's always good to put Scottish football on the map, because as you know, and I've kind of spoke about this a lot on the show, that even down to the TV deal as well, where like the Plymouth Sports deal, where they always speak show games. I mean, likes of the game on Sunday, Aberdeen and Hearts. I mean, Sky has never covered the Aberdeen Hearts game. So it goes to show that, okay, maybe you can argue that it's a one horse race, it's a 2 horse race for the league, but it showcases the younger talent coming up, but also as well on the back of that, these competitions are designed for teams like Hearts and to get a bit of exposure, but also it's designed what we were talking about, Forrest and all that, because he is a young player coming through the ranks, it gets him used to kind of like European football.
Yeah, and I think it's only good for him because it's only good for Scottish talent as well that Neil's a manager that can really bridge young players. Because how many times have you heard like people saying up in Scotland and down south, like Stephen Gerrard, oh, it'd be great to put this young player in, or Michael Beale saying the same thing, or Brendan Rodgers or Neil Lennon saying it'd be great to play with this young player in. But see, at the end of the day, Michael, I'll give you a good example. See Philippe Clement, right? See Bailey Rice, the Scotland under 17s player who's outstanding. Philippe Clement won't put him in because I'll tell you why. Because he knows he's under so much pressure at the moment. So there's no room for error. So I think that there also needs to be a kind of realization of when do you actually throw these players in. You know, it's okay saying the manager's under pressure, but it's like I said to you before. You brought up last week about the Spanish guy at 17 years of age. You know, Spain was going, oh, the Spanish coach might lose his job, so we're not going to throw this guy in. And I think it goes back to what the Spanish FA have done. If you look, if you go to, for instance, if you go to Spain, right, after Spain lost to Scotland, a lot of the media were saying, "Oh, this guy might not be good enough," but then he goes on to win the Euros. So it's all about, see, if you're going to give these players a chance, you also need to remember there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs as well. So I think sometimes, now, I'm not going to blame social media because I absolutely hate social media with a passion. I hate it. But I think it's a big part of what we all live in 2024. But I think some of the stuff said on it is absolutely terrible. I mean, and some of the abuse, and the fact that people can go online and they can make up profiles that all they put on the profile is a terrible comment. To me, you should have to um, like stand up for what you believe in and actually say who you are, because and I think that goes back to what the whole situation that we've got at the minute where we're like trying to get as many good players in Scotland as possible. I mean, players at the moment are I wouldn't say they're not themselves, but they're not an open book to the media anymore. They all say the boring answers. Like when you'll know if you've been a journalist.
Do you think as well? I hate to go on about this again, but like talking about young players, I don't know about you, Reagan, but I think like if you throw in a young scar, maybe like well, take Forrest at the minute as well, from Hearts. I don't think they've got any fear factor in terms of I'm here myself now. We had a couple of issues there. But no, what I was going to say, Reagan, was do you think that, talking about youth players, right, do you think that they haven't got any fear factor by bringing, by going in the team, by scoring a goal, by, signing a new contract? So do you think that's the difference between a kind of youth player that's come through the ranks and a player that's been in the Hearts team or any team for years? Because I think that they they've got no fear factor, but also that they know at the back of their minds that they've only got one chance.
I think there's no fear factor, but I think there's also a time where they've got a manager that can trust them, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly as well. I'm thinking about Ross McCausland at Ibrox as well, because did he not score a goal last season and he come off the bench and won Rangers a game? And am I right in saying that Rangers gave him a deal after that because he scored a goal? And I mean, he's came up through the ranks at Rangers as well, and he knows what the club is inside out, you know. But it kind of annoys me a wee bit, Reagan, as well, because I bet they Celtic and Rangers or Aberdeen or Hearts or whatever team you care to mention, that they say, oh, he's a Rangers man, he's a Celtic man, but that doesn't guarantee you that it's going to be successful.
No, but I think you're right though. I think it's important that you get as many people that know the clubs as possible.
Get your comments coming in. We're on till about 5:40 before the sixth. It's a double header this week. Celtic last night against Blues, and the Hearts are facing the, what would you say, the cousins or the brothers, separately Blues in the 5:45 kickoff. 8 o'clock tonight, Rangers are in Nice. Well, they're in France to play Nice. That is our 8 o'clock kickoff. And don't forget, we'll be back at 10 o'clock for all the reaction to the games tonight between separately Blues versus Hearts and Nice versus Rangers at 8 o'clock. So it's going to be quite interesting as well, Reagan, because it's going to be interesting to see how Hearts bounce back after that the weekend against Celtic. I thought they did well for the first 45 minutes. As I said on the show on Sunday, they should have been 3 up at half time. But as you know, you can create as many chances, but you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And obviously, Celtic ran out winners in the second half. But it's going to be quite interesting to see how Hearts bounce back tonight.
Aye, because I think they got a few chances, Hearts on Saturday, Michael. And if they took one of those chances, it could be a totally different match.
We've got another Lino watching the show on YouTube. Thanks for watching. He says more than the German tarts, and I think that's it, Reagan, because it leaves your Scottish teams aside. You've got to support the teams in Europe, and it's helping the coefficient as well.
Oh, it definitely is, especially when Scotland's a small country. It's important that all the Scottish teams win.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously, it's. I know. I was saying that it's good experience for Hearts being in Europe as well, but it's also good experience for Neil Clitsy because I'm not familiar with his teams over the years, but I'm guessing that he's never been in Europe before.
No, I think it's very important for him that he builds himself up in Europe as well. And it'll only be good for him as a manager to learn as well.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it will, and also as well. So after this, Hearts has got a game, another away game, Reagan, on the 12th of December, away to Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's going to be a one because away in Denmark will be difficult. It'll be very difficult, and I think Copenhagen. It'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, no, exactly, and I think it will be good for the. I saw a video before I saw a video week before we came on there today. I think it was from the Hacks Candid social media page, and I think that was about 3:45. I checked it, and there was Hearts fans in the stadium getting ready for the game tonight as the Hearts team came to look on at the park as well. Obviously, we'll speak about the Rangers game coming up tonight against Nice. We've got quotes there from Philip Clement, who was speaking to the media last night as well. We're hoping to be joined at 10 o'clock on the show by Reagan, and we'll be joined by Graham to look back in the night's games. But yeah, I mean, I always think it's very interesting to see how Hearts or any team that gets a heavy defeat the weekend, how they bounce back from the reaction on Saturday night from Celtic. Because if you look at the game overall, Hearts had, as I said, better chances in the first half. But as you know, and as I said to Reagan there, you know, you could play as many chances in front of goal as possible, but the aim of the game is to put the ball in the back of the net. Hearts done that once, brilliant goal, but by the time they got the goal, the game was over. Celtic was just kind of outstanding in that second half, but I think that's a learning curve for every team to take their chances when they come up against Celtic and Rangers as well, Reagan.
I think it's important that they maximise their chances and they do well and that they try and score as many goals as possible because Celtic and Rangers are very lethal when they have chances.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I must say, I'm not familiar about Sepley's Blues, but if it was like the Blues Celtic were playing last night, they're a big, massive, physical team.
Yeah, I mean Bruges they're a physical team, but they're also a different team from RB Leipzig. But I think they proved that they're a better team.
Yeah, no, I mean they were very they were very kind of like physical, and they got on about the game well as well. But I think one I said to you before we come on there as well, Reagan, that it's going to be a bit difficult for Hearts being away from home. But as you see for Celtic last night, it's very important to go off to a good start, and Celtic failed last night, and Carl Vickers scored on goal and all the rest got it. Okay, Celtic got a point at the end of the night, but in these European nights, no matter who you're playing, whether it's home or away, it's always important to start well in the first 15 minutes.
I think you're right there, and I think every European game there's always a difficult opponent. You don't win a raffle ticket by getting into Europe. You know, it's all of these teams are playing of a very good caliber. It's not like you need to be at the top of at the top of your game. So I think for Celtic last night they proved that they're becoming a very good team in Europe as well.
Yeah, and I suppose just going back to the Hearts, and you can remind us of the Hearts team in a minute or two. But I mean, I think that's a good team there. But I mean, I think like we always talk about European football, like when we always speak about the gap. I mean, I don't like that word, the gap, but you can actually see the gap when you go up against kind of like say play Blues or Rangers playing Nice tonight, because it's, you know, and it's a bit like Celtic as well, because how are they going to cope going from a physical European game to a team as I like to say, and you like it, packing 10 buses, bang the ball, Ross Kent on Saturday, and it's how does the team cope with that? Because you're actually playing two different oppositions.
Aye, because every game you've got a different challenge, you've got a different opponent in the throw of different circumstances. So it's all about Brendan Rodgers and the team trying to learn for that, Michael.
Yeah, no, exactly, and I suppose it's the same with Hearts tonight as well. But I think Hearts will the shoe will be on the other foot, Reagan, because obviously they're away from home. They might try and defend, and they might catch 30 Blues or on the break. I mean, how do you think the game will go tonight?
I think the Belgians will probably dominate possession, same way that Bruges did against Celtic. I actually felt like the Belgians would sit in last night against Celtic, but they actually dominated most of the game. And they probably should have been 2 or 3 up before they scored that chance. I was talking to a few Belgians on the bus today actually, and they were heading back to Celtic Park for a tour. So I'm glad they're enjoying Glasgow. But I mean, in terms of last night, I think Celtic have proved now, Michael. I think it's 4 or 5 games now that they've not lost at Celtic Park. So that shows me that Brendan Rodgers and the team are really turning a corner.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly, and they weren't the Belgians weren't made of chocolate last night, that's for sure, as well. But yeah, let's hope Hearts gets a decent victory or even a point away from home, Reagan. That's not a bad result.
Michael, it's only took you 32 minutes of the show to make a bad joke. So
Yeah,
I
don't
know,
want
but
the book to
I
come.
hope the don't know what's happened to your wife. I think Michael's Wi-Fi's went, or is it mine?
No, it's yours, I think, but I think we're all good now. I think we're back.
Sorry, Michael. I think your Wi-Fi went off there.
All right, okay. Are we back yet? Yeah.
Yeah. You're back. There
Cool.
you go.
That's good. No, I was just going to say a point away from home tonight from both teams wouldn't be a disaster.
No, but I think if you're Rangers, we'll get on to Rangers probably about 2 minutes time. But I think if you're Rangers, this is a game that you want to win because look at the next 2 fixtures. You've got Spurs and Manchester United. You've got Spurs at home and Manchester United away. So they're two teams that you would expect Rangers to lose quite heavily to. So you'd think, right, well, this is a game that Rangers need to prioritise to try and win.
And I think as well, Reagan, that you were saying about Rangers as well, and obviously we'll touch upon the game in a minute as well, but Hearts as well. But you don't really want them to get a heavy defeat because we're not doing too well in the league. They've got Aberdeen coming on Sunday, and that might affect their confidence as well.
Aye, but also I think I don't know if you've spoken about it, but obviously Tuesday night Aberdeen as well. They'll be feeling confident in the moment. I mean, the last 2 matches Aberdeen's played St Mirren away, played Hibs away. They've not won either game, so they'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I think it all depends what's happening tonight. Whether both teams will go into Sunday's game with their tails between their legs, because obviously you watch the game in Manchester United. It sounds an amazing game.
It was
I
brilliant.
watched the Bayern Munich game. I wish I watched the Hibs Aberdeen game because that seemed like a better game. We kind of like playing their chances as well. But
I
I
thought
think
I thought when Aberdeen got that third goal with the overhead kick, I thought that's like the match finished. But no, I mean fair play to David Gray. They've come back. They've done they've done well.
I think a point's more suited to Hibs the way it's going as well because they need anything to get a bit of confidence back and to go into the game at the weekend as well. because I think that if Hibs get beat the other night, I think the writing was on the wall for David Gray to get his jaws and walk.
I think you're right. I think if David Gray got bet on Tuesday, probably better asking for the David Gray the singer, because I mean David Gray's not done a great job so far, and obviously if you're looking at 12 matches and they've not won a match, even though David Gray's been a legend at Hibs, he still needs to win matches,
Yeah, no, I mean, just going back to Hearts for a minute, Reagan. I know that we are saying about Hearts and Aberdeen in Europe and good experience as well, but it's going to help them out financially as well.
Financially they'll be doing very well. I don't know the sum that they'll get, but I'm sure it'll be about £1 million for one win or one draw, whatever. So that's valuable to Scottish clubs, and they need to try and get as much money in their pockets as possible, because I've seen 2 Scottish clubs in the last 10 days go out of business, Inverness and Dumbarton FC. So it's important that these Scottish clubs that they take advantage of every sort of money they can get.
And it's important as well, Reagan, that other teams fly the flag for Scotland as well. It's not only down to Rangers and Celtic every season.
And I think the thing I want to mention about Hearts as well is that, I don't know if you agree, but I think it's about time that Scottish football really start doing what's best for Scottish football and making sure that they've got enough supporters in the stadium, because it was quite embarrassing watching it on Saturday. Then Michael, I mean, there was hardly anyone at the match. I know they can say, well, there was a little bit of snow, but if they'd have sold more seats to Celtic fans, then more people would have been there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing we always come back to, because if you look at the Scanring, the goal where the Celtic fans were housed, it was kind of half empty. Now I don't know if that's because of the time of the kickoff, but in saying that, the Celtic fans had to travel from Glasgow, and maybe some of them from Ireland, or maybe some of them from Ireland came in the Friday night because that they knew on Saturday it was going to be bad weather as well.
I think that's a good point you make as well, in terms of a lot of these fans are paying a lot of money to go and watch matches. So if you're locking them out at the match, then it's all these memories as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then the kind of European game as well. Okay, let's go on to first of all, before we move on to the Nice Rangers game. Can you give us a Hearts team one more time, Reagan? If people's just joining us.
I will do. It's Craig Gordon in goal, Frankie Kane, Rose, Forrest, Boateng, Danda, Penrice, Forrester, Vargas, and Shankland. So it's a pretty strong team. And then the bench is Xander Clark, Stephen Kingsley, Craig Halkett, Obionu, Baningame, Grant, Barry Mackay, Spittle, James Wilson, and Sabalar.
There you go. So that's Hearts game kicking off in about 15 minutes' time against Sipsley Blues. We'll be back after the game at 10 o'clock to wrap things up between that game and the game at 8 o'clock. That we're just going to talk about Nice against Rangers. Another difficult game for Rangers, and another difficult game on the road.
I think it will be, because they're a very good team. I'm sure they're a team that's sponsored by the Manchester United owner, Michael's well, Sir Jim Radcliffe. I'm sure he owns them and he's putting billions of pounds in them. So that's a team that really Rangers could be competing against. But also, it's one that I'm sure the players are really looking forward to being involved in.
Yeah, and I think as well that I was saying this about Hearts as well. It's a bit weird, Reagan, because you would expect Rangers and Hearts to be up at the top of the league. Obviously, Hearts is at the bottom. Rangers is in third at the moment behind Aberdeen, but they're not performing well in the league. Yet they're performing better in Europe and getting better performances. I'm talking about Rangers.
Yeah, I think Rangers. I think it's because when Rangers play Motherwell, Michael, there's 10 buses, and when they play in Europe, all of the teams are coming to attack Rangers. Like if you look at Spurs or Man U, they're not coming to sit behind the ball. They're coming to attack Rangers. Same with Nice tonight, and that's what Rangers really did well against Olympiacos because they exploited the space. But then when they play Motherwell or they play St John's on the weekend, there'll be no space because they put 10 buses to make sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was going to say as well that moving on to the game on Sunday against Johnson, I think the Rangers players would want to be at home, but saying that, I don't think they would want to be anywhere at the moment, going by the videos that's been going about in social media after the Dundee United game.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, and I think in terms of Rangers, they'll just be looking to get back to win ways as possible because I feel like, come on, even though it's not in Scottish Premiership, I still feel like they want to get the victory. You know, they want to get there because I think the players will be very low in confidence. Maybe they really do. They'll be low. They'll be trying to get the best, and they'll hopefully tonight they can get the 3 points to really build on it.
But someone was speaking to the media last night. Reagan, they said that the first question was asked because obviously Rangers has got a new chief exec, Patrick, ex-Man United, Patrick Stewart. And before you say it, Reagan, no, it's not that Patrick Stewart. Philip Clement says there's been no meetings with the board. I'm looking forward to the game. We are doing well in Europe, but we need to do better in the league. We need to perform together and we need to win together. I am here to win against Nice, but Nice are a very good team, and it's it's brilliant as well, Reagan, because managers talk a good game in paper, but I think that if you ask any Rangers fans and they watch this press conference every week, I think they'll probably say, I'm not going to bother watching it because I know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I think Rangers fans have really switched off from him now. I think I've listened to a few television programs and radio things like here. I mean, Graham's been, um, and obviously Robbie's been talking about it as well. So I've heard a lot of people talking about the fact that he's a dead man walking, and I think that's true because at Rangers you've got certain standards, Michael, and he did very well when he first came in, but now that he's kind of settled in, he's not got the same aura about him anymore.
No, I don't know why that is. I think it's because the confidence has been knocked out. And listen, I know Rangers are a big team and big club and all that, but because of the way that they're playing at the moment, it's got a big couple of weeks maybe to save his job because obviously maybe if you ask any Rangers fans, they would want him away after the Dundee United game or before the Dundee United game. But they've got
Uh,
Nice, they've got St Johnson at the weekend. I'm not entirely sure who they get and when
that they're playing Ross County.
Ibrox.
Yeah, I think it's Ross County.
I was going to get, and then obviously you've got the cup final against Celtic as well. So it's a massive, massive couple of weeks for not even Rangers, but Philip Clement as one man.
Yeah, he needs to earn his crust, and that's why they pay him big money to try and win football matches. And I think in terms of him, he'll just be trying to win matches to try and appease the fans.
Yeah, no, I can't remember the last time there was a situation like this. I'm thinking maybe back to, was it Van Bronckhorst or Michael Beale? I can't remember when, and I can't remember if that got a European game, but they went up to St Johnson. I don't know if you remember, and they get beat. And then the game at Ibrox Aberdeen, I think they beat Rangers 4-1, 4-2, and then Clermont or Michael Beale or Van Bronckhorst, I can't remember who it was, got the sack. So it's a bit ironic how they're playing St Johnson, and then I mean they should beat Ross County. No offence to Ross County, but in saying that, you never know, because I think the last time Ross County came at Ibrox, was it last season, they got a point.
Yeah, and I think when Rangers went up to Ross County as well, you remember the 3-2 game
Aye, they beat them, yeah.
when Rangers were 5 points ahead, and then Ross County beat them. So, and then obviously Dundee drew with them a couple of days later after the pitch was waterlogged for about 25 days.
Yeah, yeah. No, I felt as though it was 25 days. I bet you Rangers rest of the game was off that night at Dens Park. But it's been a weird goal start to the season from Rangers as well, because obviously we can speak about the team and who do you expect to play and all that. But I think that I don't want to put Celtic and Rangers in the same boat, because Celtic fans really get annoyed and Rangers fans really get annoyed as well. But I think that it reminds me of Neil Lennon's team during lockdown, because you know what the team's going to be, you know what the tactics are going to be, and you know what the final score is going to be.
Aye, and I think in terms of Rangers, I think they'll just be trying to build on what they've got at the moment. I don't think the fans are really having the manager. I mean, I went to Ibrox on Saturday when
Imagine.
I was watching the match, and there was hardly any fans there. There was hardly any fans there, and that just shows you about Rangers, because a lot of these fans are putting a lot of the hard money in, but they're getting nothing back.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people are spending big bucks to go to the game, especially you've got to pay for the European games, you've got to pay for the Scottish game, you've got to pay for the Premiership games, you've got to pay for the Scottish Cup games as well. And obviously, they're paying big money for the League Cup in a few weeks, but they get nothing back.
No, they're not getting anything back, and I think the big thing for Rangers as well is you look at the guy that they just brought in, the technical director from Holland. Is it Copen? I mean, some of the players that Rangers have brought in has been not very good. I mean, they keep talking about that Connor Barron's being the best player they brought in, but the big thing with Connor Barron is he's not somebody that can score you a goal. He's somebody that can break a play. And I know they brought back in Hadji, they brought in Danilo. So I just don't see the same strength for squad.
But the thing is, as well, Regan, like we always talk about the football here on the locker room, whether it's European nights or Friday nights as well. But it's the off-field matters that's not helping Rangers as well. I mean, that issue we had you, that was, I bet you if you asked any Rangers fan, that would be a bit embarrassing. But as well, like basic things like, and I keep going back to it, like the Skigum. I mean, that Skigum should be reggae for Rangers to play the pre-season games and no going to Hampden. I mean, if they knew that they were going to do it, why not start it at the last game of the season? Because you're not going to be at home anyway, so that's going to give
No,
you
no,
a good couple of weeks.
and they need to be more organised. I know it was for disabled fans, but they also need to put a timeline in place so that they're back for the Champions League qualifiers. Because if you're Philly Clermont, you're going to the board and saying, right, well, one of the big reasons that we didn't qualify for the Champions League was because we weren't there. That fortress in Ibrox, we were playing at Hampden Park. There was 20,000 there. There wasn't the same atmosphere. There was hardly anybody there. Nobody enjoyed it. So I think that needs to be everybody needs to reevaluate what is actually going on in the club.
I think as well, Regan, that it makes it even more embarrassing. I know Graham spoke about it on the show that they beat St Johnstone at Hampden in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, and the whole team went over to the Union Bears after the game, and because I think that was that Northern Nets game. Sorry, was that Northern game before they get beaten European, not get the Champions League as well? But I mean, if you listen to any Rangers fans, they were embarrassed about it because, okay, you beat St Johnstone, you're into a semi-final, but you know that's nothing to get excited about. And to be honest, like, you still haven't won anything as well. And I know that the team and the fans want to come together, but if you think about it now, that they get beat for Celtic, beat for Dundee United, and I'm sure and disappointing performances in the mix as well. You shouldn't be celebrating.
No, no, the way that they did in that game. They all went over to the Union Bears corner, but they only went over there, Michael, because the rest of the stadium was empty. You know, nobody enjoyed that time when Rangers were playing at Hampden, and that's for me. That's on the chief executive, James Bisgrove, but he went off to Saudi Arabia and Pashas New. It's also on the outgoing chairman in Douglas Park because they should have made sure when the Rangers fans are giving them £2 million or £3 million for season tickets alone, they need to make sure that they do their jobs too.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, it's another game of football. Rangers would want to put on win the game, but I think that I know that I say to you sometimes on the show, Regan, what's important to get a win or a performance, and a lot of people might say, "Oh, a win's more important than the performance." But I think if you ask any Rangers fans at the moment, I think a win and a performance would be good because they're not seeing a performance like Rangers. Because as I keep saying on the show, and I might sing that a broken record, but when was the last time that a Rangers fan came out of Ibrox and said, "Oh, I like that, I like this player, I like this player. I'm looking forward to seeing him next week. I'm looking forward to going back to Ibrox next week because we perform well."
I
But
think that's a good point in terms of Rangers have not got a player that really can get you off your seat. You know,
yeah,
they've not got a player
bums off the seat, yeah.
they've not got like a over Lennon Miller at Motherwell. I mean, Lennon Miller was brilliant.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the difference between maybe you know, and I think as well that we were talking about Forest Gate earlier with Hearts, Regan, as well, right? And I'm not saying that not one Rangers player's got to come through the system and win the league. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is give young players a chance because young players haven't got that kind of like fear factor about them because they know that they've only got one chance.
Aye, there needs to be realistic expectations as well because the young player has been thrown in there because he's great enough to be playing. I'd always say to you, age is only a number if you've got potential there. But also, as I said earlier, I don't think the Rangers manager really wants to throw MD in because he's under so much pressure.
Okay, so thanks to Regan for this. We're only 5 minutes away from the Sicily Blues Hearts game, and then, as I said, 8 o'clock kickoff over in France tonight. We've got Nice against Rangers, and we'll be back
I
at
want to
10
ask you a
o'clock.
question. I want to ask you a question on the drum taps, Michael. Right, and it's my question is, what about Shankland, Jang? Because he's not scored all season long. Do you think it's an important game for him to finally score?
I think he's got a bit low in confidence, Reagan, because you've seen it yourself, but it only takes one striker, a striker out of form to score a goal, whether it comes off a knee, off a thigh, or whatever. Going back to the Celtic game last week, he should have scored that chance. And I think if he scores tonight, I think he will be back in the goal scoring spree. But yeah, it's a bit weird because last season, without watching the Hearts game, you would say, oh, Shankland scored a goal. And 9 games out of 10, you're right. But this season, he's just been out of form. And I don't know what it is because of the
That's why I
play.
said. That's why I said to Graham last season, it's okay, like celebrating getting third, but if you looked at Hearts match, it was Shankland that was digging Hearts out a hole.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why Hearts aren't performing well this season as well. And Graham would probably know this better than anyone. But one man can't make a team. I can't allow, you can't make it fall to Shankland to score the week. Players like Forrest, Frankie Kent, players like that, we have to step up to the plate and score. And that's why Hearts are lagging behind at the second bottom of the league, and they need to start winning games.
I think that's a good point you made because it's okay talking about reputations and saying, no, I think Hearts will be okay. But do I actually think they'll be okay? Because I'm starting to think they probably won't be. Because if you look at their strike force, they've got Shankland, who's not able to score. They've got Boyce, who Graham tells me hardly ever plays. So they've got nobody else there that's scoring goals. And the big thing for me when you're down at the bottom, you need to score goals.
And boys scored goals for fun last season as well, Reagan. I completely forgot about boys. There you are. I completely forgot about boys until you mentioned him there. And he doesn't get a game, and I don't know why. But like, if you're struggling for goals and you're struggling for teams to play well, you can't afford to put guys like that on the bench, Reagan. That he scored a lot of goals last season.
No, but I think it's also down to like maybe Stephen Naismith and, and
Yeah.
Neil Chrisley now don't fancy him as a player. They don't think he's good enough to be playing. But also that's then down to them to then say, look, we'll take your wages and we'll pass them on to somebody else because there's no point in him just being there to sit on the bench.
No.
The-
Is it?
I mean, I think it'd be interesting if Graham was here. Don't know if he's listening to the show, or whatever, but it'd be interesting to know because I feel like in January when the transfer window opens, I think in terms of Hearts, I think that'll be an area where they'll try and get possibly 2 new strikers in.
Mm. Yeah. So we've got a minute to go before the kick-off, Reagan. When 6 of these Blues against Hearts. Good luck to Hearts and Rangers tonight. We'll be back at 10 o'clock.
Have you
Thanks
said
to
have you said your prediction, Michael, before we go?
Well, okay. I'll come off the fence because it's a bit cold now. I might say one each in the Sexley Blues Hearts game, and also I will go for the same score line and Nice tonight.
I'll go Circle Bruges 3, Hearts 1,
Oof.
and I'll go Nice 1, Rangers 2. So your headline tonight will be a nice win in Nice for Rangers.
Right, yeah, very good, very good. Yeah. So Reagan's on top for him as always. Thanks to Reagan for joining me tonight. Thanks for all your comments as well. We'll do it again at 10 o'clock. to review the games tonight between Sackley's Blues versus Hearts, kicking off at kick-off actually now, and Nice against Rangers at 8 o'clock. We'll see you at 10.
Following Rangers and Hearts in Europe with all the reaction here on Independence Live.